Thanks for joining me again. Let's take a look at this week's insanity because it really is insane. Remove the word mother? Motherfucker? What the fuck is Wisconsin thinking? Governor Tony Evers is trying to take the word mother out of the equation. Okay, so Tony Evers is seeking to change language that refers to biological mothers and fathers into inseminated person and person who gave birth. This is just their way of introducing non-gender language into reality, into our world, making it a part of normal. It's not normal, okay? So, in vitro fertilization has been publicly available since the late 70s, about 50 years. And we've survived up until this point with the current verbiage that we use to describe a mother, a non-biological mother, a father, a sperm donor. I mean, there's words that we've been using ever since then. Nothing new needs to happen here. What is going on here? Okay, so it was hidden in the 2025 to 2027 budget proposal. That's how they get this stuff through. If you remember, like the omnibus bill in December, I remember seeing it on a table. It was like two stacks, like this tall. They had to have AI go through it to figure out what the fuck was in this document. This is crazy. This is your world. And this is how they slip stuff in on you without you knowing it. Okay, they hide it in the middle of something else. This is the 2025 Senate Bill 45. It is the Wisconsin's legislature's very sneaky way of taking mother out of the equation. They say it's for in vitro fertilization references, but that doesn't fly. In vitro fertilization isn't new. Like I said, it's been around since the late 70s, available to the public. Somehow, since then, they figured out how to refer to a real mother as a real mother and a non-biological mother as the non-biological mother, the woman receiving the in vitro treatment. Somehow we've survived all these years with the current words that we use out of the Webster's Dictionary. Why in 2025 does this need to change? All it does is bring gender neutral verbiage and make it legitimate, and it's not legitimate, okay? So get over it. If you're one of the ones that's for this, go see a counselor and cut the bullshit. Enough is enough. This is Anthony Stephen Evers, the Wisconsin governor, who is trying to put gender neutral verbiage into law in Wisconsin. If you live in Wisconsin and you're one of his constituents, I recommend you write him a little letter and tell him to cut the bullshit. Isn't there a lot of other things he could be focusing on than spending time worrying about words that are being used when a woman goes to a clinic to get some in vitro fertilization? Wow. Okay. So, the California fires. Everybody stopped talking about them. Everybody forgot about them, kind of like what happened with Maui. It's just yesterday's news. Well, Trump met with the California leadership on January 24th. And here we are. What is it? February 25th, a month later. And we're going to take a look right now at a flyover. So here's the Palisades fire flyover. This is the most recent flyover I've seen. Let's check it out. Do you get the gist of this? Here we are a month later and there's nothing going on. You see any cleanup? You see any trucks along those roads? You see any like a hustle and bustle of people? Do you see like the homeowners themselves there like trying to clean stuff up? No, no, not just by the waterfront, but even up on the mountainside, nothing's being done. Why would this be? A month later, at the press conference with Trump, he indicated he expected cleanup to start immediately. And they were all yesing him to death. If you recall, you can go back and look at the press conference from a month ago, from January 24th, with Trump and California leadership. They were all like this. Yes. Yes, President Trump. Yes. Please help us. Yes. And Trump was saying, we're going to take care of those environmental groups. We're going to make it so they can't sue to delay the progress. And here we are. They brought up the coastal environmental groups and said that it would be a problem. And Trump said that there would be something that could be done to stop them from bringing the lawsuits. Yet, here we are. This also means that people that have a house in the middle of that, like you see this house right here, somehow every house on either side is burned and it survived. The people can't live there. There's no water, there's no electric, there's no infrastructure, there's no utilities. So, yeah, nothing's being done. Nothing. Okay? Now, let's go over here to Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla lives in Malibu. Let's just take a look here. This is the side of Malibu, obviously, on the ocean. And then he lives up over here, up on this hillside. So let's just take a look at some of this video.
So I've been displaced from my Malibu condo for 35 days. I went back once very quickly with a little inside job from a fire marshal, grabbed some socks and underpants and skedaddled. But this is the first time I've been able to go there and really survey the damage, not to my place per se, but to all of my neighbors. So it's interesting, and it would be an emotional journey, except for I'm not emotional. But for anyone else, it would definitely be an emotional journey.
Okay, so the homes that are built on the ocean side apparently have some sort of, each one has its own separate septic tank. And they're from the 1940s, the ones that are all along the beach. And so he indicated that each one has its own separate septic tank that was built in the 40s and that it would never pass 2025 standards. So I'm thinking this might be what's taking them so long to even start. But what's the excuse for the homes up on the hill? I mean, the homes up on the hill, like Adams, let's just take a look here. So here's, just to show you, the beachfront homes. Steel beams melted. That
Now
looks
we're rolling
familiar.
into my block. So this is crazy catch as catch can, because this is a wood shingled house right here that did not burn down. I was happy to see that these little funky places at the end made it. So this is my beach here to the right, and this is a modern place which made it, and the place next to it is a beautiful family I had a chance to visit with just perchance a few weeks before the fire. Family owned it for many years. That made it. This place.
That's a perfect example of how I mentioned in one of my other videos when the fires were going on, and I was saying about how difficult it is for families that own these because they were built in the 40s, and if your grandparents own one of these, they know that you'll never be able to get it back for the price they paid for it, so they leave it and hand it down, and all you have to do is pay for the taxes and the maintenance of the building. And these people, didn't have tons of money like a lot, like Adam Carolla. They're not from like the Hollywood scene where they're making all kinds of millions of dollars every year. So these are just average people trying to live on the beach, and it seems like maybe they'll never get back again, possibly, especially if they didn't have insurance. I mean, you can see just here's a flyover they did. This. I mean, this is just.
This is the La Costa Beach Club, and somehow this beach club escaped damage, even though everything around it was damaged, and it has a solid wood pergola that you think would be just shoved for the fire.
Wow.
But somehow this beach club made it.
Isn't that something? Somehow that wood structure survived amidst all of the damage and stuff. It's almost like, I don't know. I don't know how that happens. Anybody have any ideas? I didn't see much of the whole blue theme going on here anymore. I know there was that theme was going on in Maui, but anyway. So David Spade is offering $5,000 to anyone who can find someone around the area burning stuff with a flamethrower. So if you happen to see someone burning something up with a flamethrower, contact David Spade. He's going to probably offer you more than the police would. And I'm not even sure. I guess they saw someone in the past with a flamethrower, and that's why it's a thing. But yeah. Wow. Okay. Onward. What's next? Speaking of corruption, did you see Elizabeth Warren recently at the RFK Jr. confirmation hearings? She made a total fool out of herself. Did you see her do that? Let me show you. Now, let me just set this up for you. She's questioning RFK Jr. on his qualifications to become Health and Human Services Secretary. And this is the hearing where they have to prove to everyone that they're worthy of the post. And he's just defending himself and innocently talking about what he's done, and he's done some great work to help people. He's a lawyer by trade. And if you weren't aware of that, so he can sue people. And she wants to know if he's going to be suing Big Pharma. Unreal what this woman said in public, out in the middle of everywhere. Just look, watch. Watch this.
Well, I'll certainly commit to that while I'm secretary. I do want to clarify something because you're making me sound like a shill. I put together that case. I did the Science Day presentation to the judge on that case to get it into court with a Daubert hearing.
Mr. Kenny, it's just a really...
Hear her interfering with him? He can't even get a word in edgewise with this woman. She's like your mom when you were little and she knew you were guilty about something and she's like up your ass about it and she's and you can't even explain your innocence because she won't let you get a word in. That's what Elizabeth Warren is acting like. She's somebody's mother and she's like this, and she is completely out of line here. Let's just continue. You'll see what I mean.
Simple question.
Yeah,
You've taken in $2.5 million.
Listen to this question she asks, and then you'll understand who she's getting her paycheck from.
I want to know if you will commit right now that not only will you not go to work for drug companies, you won't go to work suing the drug companies and taking your rake out of that while you're a secretary and for 4 years.
Promise me you're not going to sue Big Pharma for all the corruption with all of their corrupt ways. Let's just put it that way. So, anyway, that was just a horrible thing that she did to RFK, asking that he not sue any big pharma companies if he becomes Health and Human Services Secretary. I mean, can she really be serious? What kind of bullshit is this? That you would ask this right in the middle of a hearing, out in public. Like, I would think this would be something she'd get him behind closed doors and say, hey, come here. If you get in, no suing Big Pharma, okay? Oh, no. She's just like right in your face with it, out in the open. Do you promise that you're not going to take money from Big Pharma? You're not going to sue them. She's protecting them. She clearly gets paid by them. This is the proof that I believe that our elections are rigged all the way down for people like her. They're rigged to get her in there, so she'll do the bidding of who's giving her the biggest paycheck, which is not her government job for $200,000 a year. This woman is a disgrace to freedom, and her constituents should be demanding more from her and should be actually just getting her out, kick her out. Let's check this out. This is Liz. I pray for more people like this.
Are you bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending? What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparency? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress? How did you do that?
Bingo. Bingo. How do you get a $12 million net worth when you're busting your ass every day for a $200,000 a year salary? You have to ask the question, how did she get to be a multimillionaire making $200,000 a year? You have to take the time. You have to start being involved in your politics and try to weed out some of this trash. I mean, what kind of corruption is this? As a matter of fact, we should all be looking at the senators that represent us in our different various states. Why don't you take some time to look up yours? Find out who they get kickbacks from. OpenSecrets.org. You can go in there and figure out who they're getting their kickbacks from. You can copy and paste it and send them an email and tell them cut it out. That would be ideal. What a concept. Okay. So I don't know if you've ever heard of this girl before, but her name is Data Republican. That's the name she's going by. I don't think her real name is out there for her own protection. And she is wearing glasses also for her own protection, as you can imagine. The R in the Republican on Data Republican on X, the R is not capitalized because she says that she's not totally committed to the Republican Party, obviously due to corruption. So this girl She is a data scientist. No doubt she's seen a lot of the corruption because she's been analyzing the data. She was interviewed by News Nation and she's an official badass, okay? I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check out the interview with her. She's an independent person who analyzes spreadsheets and works with AI to weed out information. She's been teaming up with DOGE with her expertise, and they've been using it to find some of the corruption, a lot of it. She's actually said she's shocked at what she's found, and most of what she's found is not public. So the stuff that they're making public isn't even the worst of it. Okay. Here we see her talking about one of the NGOs, which apparently is how this money is being distributed. Because your congressperson gets on the board of an NGO, which stands for non-government organization, but they get money from the government to operate. So it's a side back door for government money that the politicians have been using rampantly. I wonder, Senator Warren? Yeah. Anyway, one of the examples that she mentioned was a $17 million project for a puppet show. Get this. In the end, it had 200 views. The puppets were held together with tape, very poor quality. $17 million to put on a puppet show, probably about some diversity and equity inclusion crap, although she didn't mention what the topic of the puppet show was. But even if it was to teach the kids the letter A, it's a waste of money, okay? Because who needs $17 million to put on a pathetic puppet show and calling it a $17 million puppet show and then taking the money out and distributing it to all the board members, which are, by the way, are all your politicians? Is this okay with you? I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. So here's a clip of her. And in this clip, she's describing one of the pieces of corruption that she found. These politicians are beyond corrupt on both sides. She is deaf, by the way, which makes her even more badass.
So, no, so Norm Eisen, he runs an NGO called State United Democracies Center, State United Democracy Center. It's actually full of big names like Janet Napolitano, Tom Ridge, Michael Steele. You know, many famous names are involved in this specific NGO. Now, that NGO accepts $17 million in private donations. So I was researching. What do they do? Like, with $17 million, I started researching. But the only thing I could find, and I wasn't digging, but the only thing that I found, they made a knockoff Muppet show. You think I'm kidding? They actually made puppets, Muppets, but like knockoff puppets. And all the videos that they made with these knockoff puppets had less than 200 views.
There you go. A knockoff puppet show. I mean, this is what corruption is. Okay, in case you're not familiar with corruption. And this is what it means to drain the swamp. If this offends you, you need counseling. Why wouldn't you want the government to run with less corruption? When you hear about these things, why wouldn't you support this endeavor instead of go against it because you're a Democrat? Like that has anything to do with corruption? Weeding out corruption on both sides? Don't you want some of these Republicans caught in corruption? And wouldn't you want your own caught in corruption? Understand something. Not everything hinges on your political affiliation, okay? Sometimes you have to put that down and let some shit get done. Draining the swamp is bipartisan, and if you're not for draining the swamp on both sides, you are part of the problem. I don't know if you heard, but there was a human trafficking undercover operation that was held in the area of Apache Junction, Arizona this past week. And in only 2 days, they found 14 people who were willing to make special arrangements, some even purchasing toys and candy to meet up with and have sex with a child. Even one of the children was as young as 7 years old. Can you imagine? A grown man making arrangements to meet up with a 7-year-old? People they arrested run the gamut from fathers to coaches. The people are taking a day off from work and making special arrangements, cleaning out the back of their truck and their SUV to lay down a nice big blow up mattress so that they can come meet the little girl in the park, the 13-year-old, the 12-year-old, and they brought candy and snacks. Oh, and the one that brought the truck with the bed he purchased just for the event. He went through a lot of effort, make everything perfect so this little girl would feel comfortable. And he also brought his gun. What was he planning to do? We don't know. This was all a sham. These weren't real kids. But this happens every day. But the police officers were pretending to be little kids. And it's shocking what these men will do. These are everyday people that take the day off from work and make special arrangements to have sex with a kid. This is your fathers, your grandfathers. They were all men in this sting. They're not always all men, but in this one, they were all men. Many of them looking for little boys. Okay? Watch your kids, people. Make sure that they know that these predators exist and they should not just be fooled by anybody they're talking to online. Watch your kids' online activity, please. And if you're listening to this and you have a problem with being attracted to children, please get yourself counseling. If you haven't been arrested yet, you have time to turn yourself around and stop that nonsense. Then you need to get busy with a hobby. You must have too much time on your hands. Maybe you're not investing enough time in your kids and grandkids and your family. So you're bored, you think you're bored, you have nothing to do, you're twiddling your thumbs. There's nothing for me to do. Well, if you would think with the right side of your brain, I'm sure you could look around and see there's plenty of things to do, from helping clean your house to getting other chores done, wash your car, I don't know, pick up a hobby. Find a friend. Stay away from the fucking kids, dickhead, okay? I don't know how else to say it. Stay the fuck away from the kids and get yourself some counseling. It's just shocking to me that I even have to say this to people. Okay, on to the next story. I don't know if you guys seen, but Project Veritas has been added again. And if you're not familiar with Project Veritas, they're a bipartisan organization that secretly sneaks up on people in government positions and catches them doing bad things. And they do this usually by inviting them out to dinners and catching them on tape saying all kinds of incriminating things. So their latest, I don't want to call him a victim because he's certainly not a victim. I guess their latest perpetrator, recently got Travis Combs. That's who he is. He works for the Department of Education. as a branch chief. He's in charge of your children's education. He was caught on camera saying some pretty damning things about what they're doing in the Department of Education, illegally supporting illegal immigrants. What does illegal immigrants and the Department of Education have to do with each other, other than some illegal immigrants might be going to school? Let's take a look at what he had to say during one of these undercover dinners. Very interesting indeed.
Yeah, Congress actually knew that we don't have that, there would be a lot of trouble.
Why? Because
we would be like in a position of like being a sanctuary. You know, they have like sanctuary cities. We would be like a sanctuary program where we're spending federal dollars on illegal immigrants.
Like they shut off everyone's access to everything. They're like in the building looking through everything.
I'm telling you, it is insanity.
it sounds like a bad movie.
Yeah. It's like Democracy Falling, which should be like the title of the movie. I mean, if you want to have a
Democracy
conversation with
Winning
somebody,
is
you
more
have
like
to take
it.
it offline,
Finally.
but you're not supposed to.
I mean, you have to now.
Yeah. So everybody uses it's an app called Signal now.
And you're all on like video chat, like.
Yeah, so it's just like a text messaging app, basically, like a WhatsApp,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's encrypted in the end.
Nice. So you can do business stuff on there.
We're not supposed to, but yeah.
There you go. We're not supposed to, but yeah, okay. Purposefully not asking people their citizenship status when they apply for a federal job? Really? Who has heard of this? And also using an app called Signal to hide what they're doing? Yes, they're using the Signal app to conduct government business so you won't find what they're doing. You are DOGE, because DOGE is going in there on behalf of you to find the corruption. And they are using the Signal app with end-to-end encryption. He said it right there, to do business so that nobody can find out what they're doing, to continue the agenda. Who starts them on this agenda? Where does this agenda come from? And why? You know, the governor from Wisconsin, that's Evers, that's trying to get this gender neutral language put in there. He's also from the Department of Education. No surprise there, right? So I just want to say great job, Project Veritas. If you don't follow Project Veritas, I highly recommend you do, because they're a great organization, and you can even donate some money to their cause if you are able to do that. And I'll put a link in the description to the videos that we watched today in this video, so you can go and watch them in full on your own. It is a must watch. You know, you really should watch these videos because you need to know what's going on. You got to spend some time. You've got to dedicate some time getting involved for your children's sake. And for the sake of the humanity, we need you. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes open.
Thank you.